I really love what I do. And thank you guys for understanding and supporting that I have to travel. I will miss you. So I will miss them, but I leave the guilt behind. I don't take it with me. It doesn't serve any purpose. And I want my kids to know that the choices that I make by and large are truly choices that I want to be making.
As moms, let's face it can be challenging to manage, maintain, and muster the patience to balance it all. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a career mom, an entrepreneur, or a business owner, motherhood can be a lot. Today, we're leaving behind the mommy guilt and learning some new strategies to cope better. Welcome back, Dr. Sheryl Ziegler. I'm so excited. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's unpack this. And so after this episode, everyone's gonna be able to ditch the mommy guilt, yes?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
We need to do that.
We have some big expectations here. So why do moms feel so much mommy guilt?
Well, women that are mothers are torn in so many different directions. So we know that. I know, that's nothing new, right? So you run the house, disproportionately you run all the household chores, you do all the cooking, the cleaning, maybe not all, but the majority. And for some women, they also work. And we take on not just all the duties of raising kids, but even just the emotional, lift that requires women to just be so engaged with their kids. So what happens is you try to balance all of that. You can't really balance all of those things.
Agreed.
And so you just feel like, well, I'm just doing a bad job everywhere.
Yes.
I'm not doing a good job as mom. I'm not doing a good job here. I'm not a good wife, whatever it might be. And so guilt seems to kind of come along with the package deal of being a mom.
Yes. And I remember I felt when I was traveling, and granted, I'm only gone like 1 day or 2 days out of the month for travel. And, but I was feeling so much mommy guilt, right? Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because I was like, okay, how am I going to, cope with this and feel okay with it? And one of the things that I told my daughter, I said, when I travel, what is it that you need when I return? And so honestly, she told me, she goes like, I just want you to come and snuggle with me and sleep in my bed, when you get back home. And I'm like, great. So I did that. And then the weekend after, so if I was traveling on a Tuesday, let's say, I would, on that Saturday, we would do something together, just the two of us, right? So it just started helping with my mom guilt as far as what I was doing, right? And I think that, when we start to establish those little, what makes sense for, both parties, because then after that I was like, okay, mom guilt gone, because I really looked forward to that time that we kind of make up time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I think that, I can relate because of the clients that I work with, but I can also relate personally.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago, I wrote this article for the Harvard Business Review on dropping mom guilt.
Yes.
And then that became a chapter in one of their books on
Right.
kind of working mom stuff. And one of the things that I think is so helpful to drop the guilt, and I use it all the time, is being really clear with your kids about why you do what you do. Mm-hmm. So if it's, because you're going out with your girlfriends tonight, right, and the kids are complaining or whining, or you just feel bad. You're just like, I want to go out, but there's so much that I need to do. I don't really know. They had a fever last night. We come up with all these things.
Yeah.
Is really to be unapologetic, though, to your kids, because you should be making decisions that you think are good for you. So, like, for example, okay, well, I'm going out with my friends tonight. I'm going to be home probably around 8, whatever it might say. And let's say they're just sort of like, they don't seem so happy. To say to them, it's really important that mommy spends time with her friends. It makes my heart happy. I'll come back happier. It's what I want to do. Yeah. That you're sending the message that, because if you send the message that you're going out with your friends or you're going to work and you don't really even want to be doing it, I think that's confusing to the kids. Well, then why are you doing something you don't want to be doing?
Exactly.
And maybe not everybody has the luxury, maybe not everybody loves the work that they do, but they still need to do it because maybe they need to get a paycheck. They need to feed the family. So instead of saying, I know, I'm so sorry, I have to go to work, saying something like, for me, I say, I really love what I do, and thank you guys for understanding and supporting that I have to travel. I will miss you, so I will miss them, but I leave the guilt behind. I don't take it with me. It doesn't serve any purpose. And I want my kids to know that the choices that I make by and large are truly choices that I want to be making.
Yeah, and I think that's it sends a great message about, that's our self-care, right? Spending time with our friends, just like our kids. We model that for our kids. My daughter will say, can I go spend the night over here? Can I go play with this friend or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, because I know that fills her bucket, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's critical, and I love the way you phrase that. Is like, this is why I'm doing this, because this makes me, create that balance in my life. So I love that. It's a great way of reframing that.
Yep.
For moms that are, struggling with the guilt, is just reframing it and validating that it's important for us to fill up our buckets too.
It's so important.
Okay, so what are the inner conflicts that ignite our mommy guilt?
So at the core of it is feeling like incompetent, right? Incompetent, like you cannot figure out how to do it all. Yeah. And that's where I feel like there's been this movement to say, yeah, you feel like you can't do it all because you actually can't.
Yes.
And so at the core of guilt also can be sometimes that defeated feeling of, but I want to, or I feel that I need to, or how come you can? Why are people saying that I can't? But I look at Teri, she seems to have it all together.
Yeah.
So there's this comparison that we do, and these ideals and these societal messages that we get, and we don't even realize they are ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And we look around, like we all do, for modeling, and we make up stories.
Exactly.
You must have it all together.
And those stories are usually not based in reality.
Right.
Because I can look at you and say, she has it all together. But in reality, if we had a really heart-to-heart conversation, that's probably not true.
Right. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So the conflict has a lot to do with comparisons, ideals, sociological kind of influences onto us that are unconscious that we don't even realize. And we just live in a really pressured society. We put a lot of pressure onto ourselves that come out a lot of those things that I just said, and it just makes women wind up feeling really defeated and burned out. That's why, I wrote a book about mommy burnout, because I just kept seeing this theme of chronic stress that almost seemed synonymous. Like we all just accept it. Yes, to be a mom means to be totally stressed out, to feel guilty most of the time, to feel like you're doing a bad job, and completely forget about your own self-care.
No one wants to sign up for that. No one wants to sign up for that.
No.
So it is about managing our own expectations and also, taking care of ourselves. So what other tools or tips would you share that can really support, releasing this need to take on this guilt?
Yeah. I think the other really important piece around managing guilt is really getting clear about your values. So I like to do these values exercises with people. And if I have a list of values, which you can just find online, just to get ideas, you can find lists that are 50, 75, 100 values. And really when you look at them, almost all of them are amazing and important. But saying to somebody, but pick 3. Pick your 3 most important values and lead your life with those values.
Yeah.
Really lead from there. So even if, let's say, health. Okay, health is a top value to me. I want my kids to be healthy. I want to be healthy. Okay, so we know that having a fulfilled life, having social connections is good not just for your mental health, but also for your physical health.
Yeah.
That's how you start to make decisions that are in line. And then if you're making a decision or you're trying to decide, oh, should I do this or not? I would feel so bad. You look at it, is that in line with my values, my top 3? Yeah. If it's not, we can let it go. If it is, then you can look at whoever you need to look at or yourself in the mirror and say, this is in line with my values. So this is why I'm making this decision. Like sometimes you have to talk yourself through it to let go of that guilt. It also helps a ton to talk to other people.
Yeah, I get that. Well, and I think as like working moms, entrepreneurs, I think there's a pressure on us, and it's hard to shut off the we love what we do, right?
Yes.
We absolutely love, and I could probably be a little workaholic, okay? Because I love what I do.
Yes.
But I think it's for entrepreneurs especially, is shutting off, when to shut off, when to disengage and when to re-engage, either at the home or at the office or wherever it might be, and just processing through those times when it's time to disengage here and re-engage here. Do you have any quick tips before we go to a break?
I do. I have two that come to mind. One of them is, yes, women can multitask, like no bones business, but monotask.
Yes.
If you monotask and just focus on one thing, you are more productive, more creative, and more efficient with your time.
Yes.
And the other one that I like to say is ban busy, right?
Yes.
Walking around saying, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. Busy builds walls.
Yes.
And it makes barriers between you and people. So really just be focused and engaged on what you're doing and not trying to juggle a whole bunch of things, I think brings a lot of peace.
I love this. And we're going to come back to this busy because I'm going to talk about a little energetics about that. So we'll be right back with Dr. Sheryl Ziegler.
I'm Jeffrey Bowling, owner and jewelry designer at Jeffrey B. Jewelers, Denver's #1 jewelry design studio. And the reason why we're #1 is because of our 3D custom jewelry design. We can show you what your piece is going to look like way before the end product. And this is going to give you the comfort of knowing you get exactly what you want.
He took me over to the computer and we started drawing up exactly what I wanted. And I told my husband, I'm like, Jeffrey B is the person we're going to use.
And the other reason is that all of our gold and our diamonds are ethically sourced. So when you're ready to make that proposal, when you're ready for that legacy piece, go to jeffreyb.com and make an appointment. Because when it's love, it's Jeffrey B.
Welcome back. All right, we were just wrapped up talking about this busyness, and I want to just really highlight it because I think what we speak life into, it becomes our reality. So if we're telling ourselves we're busy, 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 and it's like this busy energy, we're actually creating that. So I like that you said, you know what, let's what did you call it? Not ditch the busy. What did you say?
Ban busy.
Ban busy. Like that's it. Hashtag ban busy. I love it. Okay, so how do we explain mommy guilt to our spouse or significant other?
Yes, because oftentimes they may not understand.
Yes.
So I think it might be, if you say, oh, I just feel so guilty, someone's instantly going to try to correct. Oh, no, you shouldn't feel guilty. So then saying, I know maybe I shouldn't feel that way, but I do. And so I want to really try to explain to you what that's about for me. I want to be the best mom that I can be. I want to be the best employer that I can be. I want to be the best wife I can be. And a lot of times I don't feel like I'm doing a good job in any of those things. And I feel torn, like I want to go into, I want to be in different places all at one time. And then they'll probably naturally say, but you can't do that. I know I can't do that, right? So I'm role playing out.
Yes, yes.
To really just try to garner that empathy, because empathy really does help when you can get someone to just stop telling you shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
But just to say, like, I just want you to sit with me. There's probably not really a solution. Here's what I'm working on. Can you help me be accountable to what I'm working on? I'm going to really work on, even telling you or telling the kids that I'm leaving or I'm doing something because it brings me joy or because I want to.
Yeah.
Help me be accountable to that. Right? Because if I can do that, the guilt will at least be cut in half, if not really go away.
Yeah.
But if I forget, because it's natural, when we stress, we regress and we're back to our stressful place, then I'm going to probably leave and feel guilty and not enjoy myself there and not enjoy myself here.
Yeah.
And so just maybe asking, like putting it out there to your partner that way and asking them to help you be accountable and really just monitoring your language and your words because they have a lot of power.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that in those conversations, I think if there's things that we can outsource to our significant other or our spouse and say, this is what I need help with, because I think there's an element that we have to do and be all things to everybody. And I think sometimes we have a hard time asking for support and also not only asking for support, but also receiving it. Because we can say, yeah, I need help. And then the person shows up and like, no, I got this. I want to do it my way. And finding those things, and I'll be honest, I hope my husband never watches this episode because I'm going to say something. But even like my husband, he helps offload, doing all the dishes, which I am so grateful. I do all the laundry, he does all the dishes. And drives me bonkers how he loads the dishwasher,
Yep.
right? But you know what? I don't care
Yep.
because he's taking it off my load. So I don't criticize. I don't say, that doesn't go there. I say, you know what? He's getting the dishes done. So I accept it, I receive it, and it helps lighten my load so much more. And, you know, again, taking away that guilt of not being perfect, not having it all together. I'm like, you know what? Done is good enough, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
done is better than perfect.
that's right. Yes.
Right. That's something I say a lot. Done is better than perfect. And I go through the same thing too, actually with pots and pans in our house. But the other thing that I think really needs to be called out is a lot of times it has to do around childcare. So let's say you have a
Yes.
husband at home
Yeah.
and you're off working out, trying to get a workout in, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Your spouse may not bathe the kids, feed the kids, or play with the kids the way you exactly want.
Yes.
And you do have to practice letting that go.
So
Right?
good.
Unless they're
Yes.
hurting them, which they're not going to be, they're just doing it differently.
Yes.
And it's actually really good for the kids. It builds up their flexibility and their adaptability, and it's a practice. So I would say if anybody's listening, just practice. Practice letting your significant other just do it their way.
Yes.
When you're around, you do it your way, fine. When they're around, they can do it their way.
And letting go of that,
it go.
letting go of that control, letting go of that angst, and it will cut your anxiety in half.
Yes.
Just by letting it go.
Yes, and
Love
knowing,
it.
and I always,
and again, it's going back to a simple practice, right? It gets in the routine of simply being of a practice of letting go.
yes, and knowing that actually, like I always try to hook women in with, and this will help your kid because that
Yes.
motivates people.
Yes.
And it is helpful. Like even if the kids sort of complain, like we didn't like the way daddy did that or something like that, to just go, I'm building up their cognitive flexibility. I'm making them more adaptable. So that's just like a reminder.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. And that is another way of reframing it, right?
Yes.
Where we're all winning and we're eliminating our mommy guilt for good. Right. All right. Where can we connect with you if we have more questions about mommy guilt?
So you can find me on my website and everything that I do there, which is drsherylziegler.com. And I also have an online course called Start With The Talk. So you can go to startwiththetalk.com, and that's really for mothers and their daughters to kind of go through the social, emotional, and physical changes of puberty and know to have those conversations, and something I really love and I'm passionate about.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I'm going to check that out for me and my daughter.
Good.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Teri's wisdom tips. Tip number 1, be willing to create and establish your own special connection time. Tip number 2, as working moms, setting clear boundaries is critical. When to engage and disengage with your work, be intentional. Tip number 3, ask for support. Be clear in your requests. Speak life into what you desire. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.